Hello everyone! Welcome to a new show called Tiny Moments I Love. One of my favorite games of all time is Super Mario 64. I've always had a special affinity for this game. It was one of, if not the very first video game I've ever played. It's one that I've continually played throughout the years, even during the later generations of gaming. Every jump, to every world, to every star, there's very few games that I can just jump into at any point and have a good time regardless of whatever I wish to do. But there was one objective that stood apart from the rest. One particular location that I wanted to return to time and time again throughout the years. My favorite star in the game is in Wet Dry World's Go to Town for Red Coins. By taking a cannon shot to the far corner of the map, you discover an entrance to a flooded town. When I was a really young kid, I didn't think too much about this place, but I loved coming down here. I've always loved it when platformer games set their characters in a city to jump around in. In all honesty, I've probably spent more time in Delfino Plaza just aimlessly jumping across rooftops than I've spent in all the other levels combined. Even as recently as Super Mario Odyssey, New Donk City is my favorite world in that game. As I got older, probably around the ages of 8 to 10, I became increasingly more curious about what the underwater town was. It was the first time I ever wondered if people lived down here. If so, who? Did they get wiped out by a flood? I made a lot of comparisons to how this had a similar structure to a Zelda town. Heck, the door texture looks very similar to the ones found in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Did Link ever travel to this place during his adventures? Is this building at the top of the town meant to be a church? A city hall? A recreation of Peach's castle? Was this place created as more of a diorama to be appreciated as art, rather than actually inhabit a civilization? Is there a way I could possibly get into one of these buildings to find out more? It really is an anomaly across the greater scope of Super Mario 64. There isn't another area in the game similar to this one. It just wouldn't carry the same connotation if this village was in the hills of Bob-omb Battlefield, or even on the shores of Dire Dire Docks. It's also a location that could really only work in Wet Dry World. It's already a rather mysterious area, with the skybox for the stage also appearing to be some buildings eroded away by the water that flooded them. The music of the stage also adds a sense of eeriness. That this was at one point a bustling civilization, lost to time only for future anthropologists to discover it later and try to piece together the few clues that might make sense of it all. This is something I've grown to appreciate about Nintendo's approach to storytelling for its core titles. They create set pieces that are important to the setting, but instead leave out details so players can speculate for themselves what the story of these places might have been. It leads to interesting theories which are probably more exciting than the actual answer. In reality, this town was probably created just because some level designer thought it would be a cool place for Mario to jump around in and locate red coins. But maybe this was a way for some stealthy developers to sneak in some world building past the notoriously play-driven Miyamoto. To that end, the tactic worked. As a developing young mind, I simply wanted to come down to this level because it was an enjoyable place to explore. And in my early adolescence, I could then begin to wonder what drew me to this place. What made it so special? It's just such a pervasive unknown that even 15 years later, I can't help but remember about the town that was forgotten by the rest of the Mario world.